Welcome to Sportsline. I'm Evan Gentry, joined by Athletic Director Josh Snyder. Josh, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Now, we have had an incredible year this past academic year in sports. Let's just start it off right away with football making it to the Division II playoffs for the first time since being in Division II, which is this was their fourth year.
Yeah, fourth full year in the conference.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you've done to really improve the life of student athletes, football players, the football program on campus?
I can't take a lot of the credit, I'll be honest. We've got great coaches, great student athletes that really do things the right way, and that's the foundation of everything. I just tried to help get some resources in place to let them do their jobs effectively. And so far, so good. In the 2 years that I've been here, we've had great success. Finished sixth last year for the third straight year in the all sports standings in our conference out of 16, which we have higher aspirations than that. But that said, as a new institution at the Division II level, I think that speaks volumes. That's pretty good for the commitment that we have and the people we have in place. And then this year I challenged coaches to take even a little step further. We wanted to win a conference championship. We wanted to do some things like that. And football made the Division II playoffs for the first time, which was a great way to kick off our fall. And then, of course, women's basketball this winter got our first conference championship. So we were excited.
That's definitely true. Now, just a second ago, you mentioned you brought in some resources to help those coaches and players do their job effectively. What are some of those resources that you've brought in?
Well, I think as much as anything, it's a way of making sure they're allocated the right way. We have raised more revenue, and without getting too technical and boring everybody, some of the things that we did. We relaunched our Booster Club, which is our annual fund for our donors, so that the people that give us X amount of dollars every year versus the major gifts that are just on occasion. So we relaunched that. We changed it up. We added some higher levels. We gave some better perks to go along with it, and we've had about a 100% increase. We've doubled our revenue from last year in our donor base. And the other thing we did, though, is we took tickets out of the equation for the Booster Club. So they get the right to buy certain tickets, but they still have to purchase the tickets separately. And I thought that would be met with some resistance from some of our people who are not used to that. It's really more of a Division I model than a Division II model, frankly, although I think more Division II schools are going that route now. But that resulted in an increase in ticket sales as well. And so, all told, our revenue in those two areas has more than doubled from my first year to my second year. And then on top of that, we added a couple of positions that have helped us go out and raise that revenue. In a corporate sales position that's resulted in an increase of about $75,000 in corporate sponsorships that I think is only going to continue to go up. Some of those types of things. We've got a great situation being in Sioux Falls, honestly. I mean, if you're in a small town, which some of our conference opponents are, it's hard to go out and really raise corporate dollars because most of the businesses are probably already giving you what they can give you. Whereas in Sioux Falls, we have new businesses popping up every day. There's new businesses starting all the time. And so there's always new people for us to reach out to and try to get good partnerships going with. And so I think we can continue to grow that area, which is only going to help our teams even more.
Yes, it is. It is only going to help our teams. And each year we have just, it seems, since I've been here, each year we've just consistently got better and better. Another good finish, as you mentioned a moment ago, was women's basketball winning their first conference title. This is their second time actually making it to the Pentagon for play, but this time they actually took home the title. What was it like for you when that happened?
It was phenomenal. I really can't say enough or express exactly how I felt. I think it was probably evident on my face. I had a few people come up to me and tell me, pretty happy right now, aren't you? I said, yes, I am. I'm very proud of these young women and the coaches that earned this because they've put a lot of time and a lot of effort in. As you know, as a student athlete, it can be a very rewarding experience, but there's also a ton of work that goes into it behind the scenes, doing academic things, working on your craft, as well as balancing school and community service and trying to be a college student and have a little fun now and then as well. So it's a lot of work, and when you see the rewards pay off like that, it's a great benefit.
All right, well, right quick before we go to break, and we'll come back, let's talk about men's basketball. They were the one team they're one of the few teams that had kind of a down year, but they gave us some bright spots for next year with Mac Johnson and
Drew Gebert.
Drew Gebert and the play that they had.
Daniel Hurt. They played great. They had a very disappointing year 2 years ago, and so expectations, I wouldn't say weren't high for us, but probably publicly weren't very high, coming off a year that was probably their most disappointing year that really Chris Johnson's ever had here as the head coach. And he responded, the team responded. Mac had a first-team all-conference season. Drew Gebert was, in my opinion, the best freshman in our league. He was phenomenal. Daniel Hurt was a great player that came in as a transfer for us. Tom Acey stepped up. Jordan Stotts had a great senior year. We really got a lot of good play across the board, and won the most games we've won in the Division II era, I think 17, and gave Augustana, who, as we know, won the national championship, all that they could handle at the Pentagon. It was a phenomenal game. I'll give our students a lot of credit too. As a student section, they were ridiculous. It was great. But 105 to 100, it was a tremendous game, and unfortunately on the losing end of that. But I expect great things next year.
Oh, we do too. I mean, I was there at all the Augustana games, and it was quite incredible. And Daniel in the second Augustana game here at the Stewart Center just played out of his mind.
He did.
But we're going to go ahead and go to break. We'll be right back after these messages.
At the University of Sioux Falls, students earn more than a degree. They gain an experience that transforms their lives. While they list the Christian community, dynamic professors, and premier career opportunities as top benefits, it's not just what they become, but who they become that USF graduates value most. USF, where you become who you become.
Welcome back to Sportsline. Again, we are joined by Josh Snyder, the athletic director here on campus. We were just talking about men's basketball and how they are looking forward to an incredible year next year. Let's switch gears and talk about women's basketball coming off an NSIC championship, which we talked about briefly moments ago. Now, Coach Schneider, they obviously had a great year, great run, starting that off in Florida for their annual preseason tournament. Now, although they had a great year and they had a great chemistry going, they lost 5 seniors.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What do you think is going to be the plan for the women's basketball team next year? What are the hopes?
Yeah, obviously, when you lose 5 seniors and 5 seniors as talented as that group, I mean, they've done so much for that program as we really stepped up into the Division II era. They've built it year after year after year, and so that's a big loss, no question. But we've still got a couple of great pieces back, that were starters in Maddie Robeson and Sam Connect, and I think that, great bench players that came in that'll have to step up, that I look forward to, seeing a lot more of. I think we've got some great ones on there that will provide that spark. And Trapp's been really busting it on the recruiting trail. So he's got some players coming in that he thinks are really going to be able to step in. A couple of really good freshmen that will be developing, but also a couple of good transfers that he thinks can step in right away and pick up some of that void. Now, anytime you lose the player of the year in the conference like we will in Taylor Varsho, it's a tough one to replace, but I think we'll be in good shape.
I think so too. Coach Trapphagen, he's an excellent coach. Always gets the most out of his girls, and I'm really excited to see what they can do next year.
Absolutely.
Kind of switching gears now, we're gonna head into tennis. They had one of the best starts. They got the 6th seed for the NSIC tournament, finished 4th overall. All these teams having these historic finishes. How does that make you feel as an athletic director?
Well, it's great. It is. There's nothing you want more than to see the student athletes have success. And you want them to leave here thinking that we gave them the tools and resources that they could be successful, and that they were able to take those and capitalize them on and turn their own talents into and their hard work into that kind of success. So it's great to see. Tennis obviously is a sport that doesn't get as much attention as some of the bigger sports, but they've been just slowly building that program as well. Kevin's done a great job, leading it and recruiting it. They've got some great players coming in. The squad size keeps getting bigger. Obviously, it helps having an indoor facility in town now that we can use. That's really our home facility. So we're able to host some home matches. I would imagine that the conference tournament will be here before too much longer, and those things really play into having just a great experience, which helps you when you go recruit. And so, like you said, finished 4th this year, tied for 4th, and won the first match in the conference tournament that we've ever won to advance to the semifinals. I look for that to continue to improve, and I think Kevin and his squads are going to get it done.
Oh, I think so too. So Kevin he's a wonderful coach as well as a wonderful guy. Since you've been an athletic director here, a lot of the students have seen just a better overall life on campus for themselves. Coming from the football team that has 130, 40, 50 combinations of uniforms to the basketball team getting more fans in their stands for the games. I mean, what do you attribute to some of the things that you've done to help do that? I mean, you've obviously implemented the Cougar Pride Club, but what are some of the other things you've done? Some of the things that kind of go unnoticed.
It's a thing. I obviously, like I said, I can't take all the credit. I try to help lead the charge, obviously, but it really comes down to people, and I've got a great staff that work their tails off. I'm not sure if my staff's had a day off in 8 months. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but in some ways it's very true. And so, I try to help change the mentality a little bit, to make us think differently than how we've thought in the past, and to challenge us to push the envelope and to continue to do certain things. But really it's a matter of people that want to see this place succeed, taking that charge and moving forward and going after it. And so, yes, we've done a few things, but like reshaping the Booster Club and having Cougar Pride Club and taking tickets out and doing some focus on corporate sponsorships and those sorts of things. But it's really the people that have made that happen. And I'm not the only one that has the ideas. Believe me, it's a unified effort with our staff. So that's a big part of it. The other part is, I'm not a patient person by nature. I want everything and I want it now, and that's sometimes tough to temper that a little bit and understand that we are building. We can't go get everything today. We're not going to just all of a sudden have everything we want, and but if we continue to work towards it, hopefully we can get there.
Yeah, and it's true, as they always say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
It wasn't.
But as you can see, each year, I mean, it's just the little things keep mounting up, and it makes these bigger differences. And so before we wrap up, the last sport we need to get to is, just frankly, historically, the baseball team on campus has not been anything to be, it's something we support. It's something we love to go watch a game, but it's hard to keep cheering when, they keep having decent seasons. This year, they stepped up and had a better season. They've done great, especially in this last home stretch, and they've kind of shocked the world and they're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, what was your reaction when you found out that the baseball team was actually going to go to the playoffs?
I am very happy for them. So proud, you can't even believe it. I know the situation that our baseball program is in terms of some of the obstacles they have to overcome. We don't have an on-campus stadium. We don't have, some of the things that our conference opponents have, and they make the best of it every day. Matt Giuliano, our coach, and along with Grant and Derek, and the assistants, they recruit their tails off. They added a JV squad. I mean, they've really helped this university in terms of adding bodies but also in getting that depth so that people can step up and have opportunities. Because, as you know, some people that have great high school careers aren't always great college athletes, and vice versa. Some people mature later and are late bloomers, and so their ability to go out and find that many more additional players results, I think, in some of the depth and success that they've had. Last year was, to me, almost a great surprise when I started seeing how well they were playing and hitting especially. And, we all know pitching's at a premium in baseball at any level. And so I know that they put a renewed focus on that for this season as well as, in recruiting for next year. And so I'm interested to see how that continues to transpire, because I think they're going to continue to shape the pitching up while adding these younger hitters that continue to mature. But this year's success has been fantastic, and they should be very proud.
Yes, and they should. And they definitely take a lot of pride in everything that they do. I think, talking with some of the baseball players, some of them, and a lot of them, are playing for Connor Gibson, as you know, suffered a brain tumor this past fall, and he's obviously on the road to recovery, and he's on schedule to be back in the fall. So, we've obviously appreciated all the prayers, especially as a student athlete, because that's something that's rough. But before we leave, thanks for joining us. We
you're welcome.
really appreciate having you in the studio today. And we're looking forward to a great 2016-2017 season.
Well, thanks for having me, and yes, we are. Like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day, neither were the coup, but we'll get there. So, and we're on our way.
Yes, sir, we will. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on our last edition of Sportsline for the spring semester. Please join us again in the fall.